If there's any video that I've ever made on YouTube before, this is probably one of the most important mindset shift video breakdowns that anyone could finish watching till the end. You are not going to want to miss this particular video breakdown. I'm going to leave you with so much motivation that it is literally going to propel your investing, day trading, or just being a market participant in this space career moving forward on a level that is unprecedented. If again, you watch till the end of today's video breakdown. We're going to dive into this manipulation or mastery, your choice in these volatile markets, considering everything that's happening right now in the total cryptocurrency market cap and the futures markets and gold and oil, all this manipulation that everybody's talking about and screaming about over on X. Again, now is the time to avoid all these large follower accounts that are just steering you away from actually learning and progressing in these market environments. The people that learn how to master this type of volatility, when things die down again and everything goes back to fundamental and scheduled data news events, you are going to be one hell of an investor, one hell of a trader. And I cannot stress enough, now is the time to master those tactics. So this is from a post on X, 288,000 followers in this post alone got 3.2 million impressions, which just goes to show you where the vast mentality of the masses is right now and what is actually getting likes and impressions over on X. This is a huge manipulation tactic to distract people from what they should be paying attention to. So it reads, let me explain what just happened. 5 minutes before the president announced a halt to attacks on Iran, someone placed a $1.5 billion bet on stocks going up and dumped $192 million in oil 5 minutes before. These trades were 4 to 6 times larger than anything else in the entire market. Whoever did this wasn't guessing. You don't risk $1.5 billion on a hunch. There was zero public indication this announcement was incoming, no leaks, no press, nothing. The only people who knew were in the room when the decision was made. Someone in that room picked up the phone, and within minutes, they made more money than most Americans will earn in 1,000 lifetimes in one single trade, which I cannot disagree with. On a war that cost you $4+ a gallon in gas and $16 billion in tax dollars. American citizens funded this war. Politicians are profiting from it. This is not the first time. Every major announcement from this administration has had massive suspicious trades right before it dropped. Tariff reversals, policy shifts, war decisions. This is the most blatant insider trading operation in the history of American politics. And it's not even close, and it's happening over and over again in broad daylight. You would go to federal prison for trading on a tip from your cousin. These people are in front of war running decisions with billions of dollar bets, and nobody will ever ask a single question. Nobody will be investigated, and nobody will be charged by tomorrow. This will all be buried under the next satisfying headline, just like last time and the time before that. The game is rigged, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. 3.2 million impressions. This is insane. Now, with that out of the way, ask yourself the question. Instead of viewing all of what's happening right now in the market as manipulation, wouldn't you rather have the education and the proper foundation to see it as nothing except an opportunity? An opportunistic moment to position yourself with the right information in the right community that has an edge in these markets to gain the upper hand on what these politicians and these manipulative banks and institutions or whatever you think is controlling the markets have, gaining the upper hand on them. Considering posts like this are also trending, 344,000 views. Your technical analysis is no match against Trump's tweets. Huge red flag. Again, having the vast majority of retail traders' brains right now in an absolute mush, no education, no foundation on how to get better, no motivation on how to improve. Here at CYPRX, we are here to change all that, which is why if you're still watching this, this is going to be one of the most important videos that you will ever watch that we have created. So let me not just back this up with me talking. Let me show you guys the level of accuracy that we are operating with here in this community in detail, way days in advance before these moves play out. So showing you guys inside the private CYPRX Discord first. I want to take you guys to just 2 separate occasions. Now, this happens all the time in the private CYPRX community via the institutional software that our institutional scalper has built for our private community, a gentleman with over 13 years of hedge fund experience. Now, the first example, I want to take you to our XRP analysis section, and I want you all to, again, pay attention to timestamps. Timestamps are extremely important. Monday, March 16th, 2026. You can see here in the XRP post, this is back when XRP was trading roughly around $1.53. And you can see institutional levels coming in at $1.36067. Look at those levels. Those are extremely important to the freaking pip. Those are extremely important. These are institutional dark pool levels. I'm not going to get into too much detail on what a dark pool is or how our software works or how we're able to track this information, but nonetheless, our private community members have access to this info constantly on any commodity, future, forex, or crypto pair that they want access to via our institutional software. Now, considering that you guys have seen the timestamp, Monday, March 16th, 2026, you've seen the institutional levels at where there are literally buy dark pools sitting in the market. If we come over to XRP's current price, I've already mapped off where this screenshot was sent out in our private community. You can see Monday, March 16th at 4:17 p.m. That was at this local top. And where did price trickle down into? To the absolute freaking pip. You cannot make this up. Straight down into $1.36067, or the institutional dark pool that our scalper had given via our institutional software days in advance. Now, considering this post here, and if we come down and it's talking about the S&P 500, it's talking about the futures markets and how all of this was manipulated today, 8.9 million views. Would you believe me if I told you that in this community, we knew levels to be mindful of and to pay attention to before these large whales invested in billions of dollars into these, price swings and fluctuations in advance? Well, we did in this community. Now, if we come over back to the CYPRX private Discord, and I'll show you guys an example in the futures markets. We come up to our premium chat and we look at the most recent example on MNQ as an example, the E-mini NASDAQ. Thursday, March 19th. Again, timestamps are important. 6:21 p.m., March 19th, 2026. If we come over to the charts on MNQ and we take a look at price action prior to when this massive move happened. So I'll take you guys over to MNQ's price action. And would you look at this? Okay, here is the screenshot from our private community when it was sent out on March 19th, days in advance. And I want to take you guys back to the Discord so that you can see the levels that we were calling out, 23920 and the 23839. And this unusual whale post that's talking about manipulation and where this huge $1.5 billion buy order happened at. Well, if we go and we take a look back on Thursday, March 19th, at this local top, when this picture was put out via our institutional software highlighting institutional deltas and dark pools that exist in this market, you can see price came straight down into the 23839 to the 23920, and that is exactly where we had Trump post out that there's going to be no attacks on Iran. We had this huge bullish push to the upside in futures and in crypto, and it happened exactly where the institutional deltas were that our software highlighted days in advance. Like, if this is not mind-blowing, I don't know what else is. This is what I'm trying to get you guys to see, that instead of paying attention to all the manipulation, we can't win as retail traders, our technical analysis sucks, platforms that are never putting out motivational information and trying to motivate and better people, right? Teaching them how to actually make money, teaching them how to progress, teaching them how to propel in their investing and trading careers. And instead, just putting out all these distraction narratives. Tap into a community like the one that we built here at CYPRX, where you guys have direct access to these institutional tools that our institutional scalper has built for you guys to utilize and are readily available at your fingertips. So that leads me over here to this. If you've made it this far, you're an outstanding individual. Kudos to you. And it shows that you really, truly want to learn about these markets. You want to progress. You want to actually make money. You don't just want to come in and read Twitter and get manipulated by all the crap that's going on right now in the ecosystem. And you were dialed in and you really want to propel in your investing and trading career. And if that's you, then that is who I'm speaking to. Here in this post, Manipulation or Mastery, I said, most people enter the markets looking for opportunity, but what they really find first is confusion. They see price spikes out of nowhere. They see reversals that make no sense. They see moves happen before news drops. And instead of seeking understanding, they settle for one word: manipulation. The trap most traders fall into. Calling the market manipulated feels good. Trust me, I know. That's who I used to be way before I met Institutional Scalper and before I became a profitable trader and actually started to understand how the markets worked. I just blamed everything on manipulation because it protects your ego, it gives you something to blame, and it keeps you from having to admit that you might not fully understand what's happening. But Here is the truth that most people avoid. The moment that you accept that the market is just manipulated, you are also accepting that you'll never truly master it. Because why would you try to learn something that you believed is rigged against you? So, with that being said, you stay stuck chasing entries, reacting to headlines, and getting emotional on every single move. Not because the market is unbeatable, but because you've chosen not to understand it. There are two types of people in these markets: the ones who say, bah, this is all manipulation. I'm never going to be successful. It's all manipulated and rigged against us. Or the ones who ask the questions, if it looks manipulated, what are they actually doing behind the scenes? The second question changes everything because instead of blaming these market moves, you start studying them. You begin to notice patterns. A price doesn't move randomly, it moves between liquidity. Reversals don't just happen anywhere, they happen at key areas of interest. Big moves don't start with news, they are often positioned way before it. What once looked like chaos starts to look like structure. Why community matters more than you think is because you cannot shortcut this experience, but you can accelerate your understanding. When you're alone, you only see what you know and what you're exposed to, most likely on social media. And most retail traders are seeing indicators, lagging signals, and surface level price action or these manipulative articles that are put out by these large influencer accounts. But when you're inside the right community, like the one that we built here via the CYPRX research team, you're exposed to a different way of reading the markets, a deeper understanding of liquidity, real time breakdowns of why price is moving the way that it's moving. You stop reacting and you actually start anticipating properly. The difference between reacting and navigating: reacting is emotional. You see a move, you end up chasing it. You see red, you panic. You see green, you FOMO. Navigating is intentional. You know where price is likely to go because you understand where institutions need liquidity, where orders are likely sitting in the market, where risk versus reward actually makes sense. So instead of asking, why did this happen? You start asking, where is price likely to go next? The truth about volatility is that volatility is not the enemy. I cannot say that 10,000 times without it getting old. The truth about volatility is that volatility is not the enemy. It is where opportunity lives, and any mature fundamentalist, any mature investor, any mature day trader knows that volatility is where the opportunities live, but only for those who understand it properly. So to everyone else, it's going to feel like a punishment. To everyone else, it's going to feel like manipulation. And that is why the same markets create losses for the majority of individuals and wealth for the very select few of individuals that actually take the time to get to learn these markets properly. Not because one group is lucky, not because the markets favor one group over the others, but because one group understands what the other ignores. And that is the decision that I'm leaving up to you all to make. At some point, every trader, every investor hits a crossroads. You are either going to stay on the outside, calling everything manipulation and falling into this funnel of 8.9 million freaking views of people believing that this is all just speculative manipulation, or you're going to fall into the category of individuals who learn how the game is actually played because the market will keep moving with or without you. The only question left is will you keep reacting to it or will you finally start moving in tandem with it? My final message to you is that you do not need more indicators. You do not need some new strategy. You need a shift in perspective because the market is not against you. See, the markets were actually built for us to prosper, but only for those who actually understand them properly. It's just that most people are not seeing the markets clearly yet. And once you do, what it and once you do see them clearly, what used to feel like chaos starts to feel like precision. What used to feel like manipulation starts to feel like opportunity. And then that is when everything changes. With that being said, many blessings to you guys. Be cognizant, be aware out there. Remember that if anybody is interested in trying out our institutional software, come give it a try for just one single month and test out how accurate it is yourself. You guys have access to crypto, futures, commodities, oil, all kinds of trading pairs inside the private CyPrX community at your disposal. Just hop in the server, ask our institutional scalper for updates. If you guys can't see trading pairs that you want access to, we'd love to have you on the team. We have weekly Zoom calls, fundamental breakdowns, a whole entire crypto research section, a whole entire book section dedicated to third eye psychology and just spiritual awakening. There's so much valuable information inside the private CyPrX community, real-time breakdowns, real profitable traders. We're all here to just help each other grow and prosper. Now is the time to really tap in, especially in volatile times like this, so you truly understand what's happening in the market dynamics. That being said, blessings to you guys. I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.